This video introduces you to the optical scan system and demonstrates how to properly mark the ballot. A few things to keep in mind when filling out your ballot. First, be sure to mark your ballot according to the instructions at the top of the ballot. And whether you're filling in ovals or connecting the two ends of an arrow, if you do it right, the tabulator won't have any problem reading your ballot. So, what's the difference between a valid and an invalid mark on your ballot? Let me show you. If your ballot requires you to fill in ovals, a valid vote is one where you've done just that, filled in the inside of the oval. The inside of the oval is the target area that the tabulator is programmed to read. If you mark your ballot in any other way, it won't be counted. If your ballot has arrows, it's a little bit different. All you need to do is connect the two ends of the arrows, like this. Again, any other marks made outside of the target area will not count. Now let's say you're in the voting booth and realize that you've made a mistake. Don't try to erase or scribble out the mark. If you do, the tabulator will not be able to properly read your ballot. Instead, just take your spoiled ballot to a precinct worker and you can get a new one. When you're voting in a partisan primary, you can only vote for candidates in one party. If you vote for candidates in more than one party, the partisan section of your ballot will not be counted. If you make this mistake when you're voting in the polls on election day, the tabulator will reject your ballot, but you'll be given the opportunity to fill out a new ballot. Now remember, this restriction applies only if you're voting in a partisan primary. If you're voting in a general election, you can vote for candidates in more than one party. Also, pay close attention to the number of candidates you can vote for in any particular office. Sometimes, like right here, you can vote for more than one candidate. Other times, you can only vote for one. So read the office headings carefully to know how many votes you're allowed. But again, if you make the mistake of voting for more candidates than allowed in a particular office, the tabulator will reject your ballot, and you'll be given the opportunity to fill out a new one. This is one of the biggest advantages of optical scan voting. You know right away if you've made a mistake and are given the chance to correct it so that you can make sure that all of the valid votes on your ballot are counted. If the tabulator rejects your ballot, whether you overvoted an office, made a crossover vote in a partisan primary, or for some reason cast a completely blank ballot, you'll be given the opportunity to fill out a replacement ballot so that your vote will be counted in every race where you marked the ballot correctly. If you're voting an absentee ballot, it's especially important that you mark the ballot correctly, because if you don't, for instance, if you vote for more candidates than allowed in a particular office, or vote for candidates in more than one party in a primary election, you won't be there when the tabulator rejects your ballot, and you won't be able to correct your mistake. So if you do make a mistake when you're filling out your absentee ballot, contact your clerk immediately for a replacement ballot. One other thing that's important to remember on election day when you are issued your ballot: it will be placed in a secrecy sleeve so that your votes will not be exposed. It is very important that when you have finished marking your ballot, you place the ballot into the secrecy sleeve with the numbered stub exposed, like this. When you take the ballot to the tabulator, insert the ballot into the tabulator while it's still in the secrecy sleeve. Unless you are receiving assistance in marking your ballot, your voted ballot should not be handled or viewed by a precinct worker or by another voter in the precinct. If you're voting an absentee ballot, be sure to place your voted ballot into the secrecy envelope before returning it to your clerk. This ensures the secrecy of your absentee ballot while it's being prepared for counting. We hope that this video has given you the information you need to feel comfortable voting your optical scan ballot. Thanks for watching, and more importantly, thanks for voting.